It's your favorite hobby gremlin, Alaina, back at it again with this week's top 5 cards. This is a big week for collectors far and wide. That's because it's National Week. What's the National, you may ask?
The National Sports Collectors Convention is the biggest card show in the country.
It's an annual gathering of collectors, dealers, and pretty much anyone interested in cards. The origin story of the National actually started back in 1980 in a hotel ballroom in Los Angeles. The founders of the first National wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to experience it, even if they lived far away. That's why they decided to have it change cities. This year, the show is July 26th through the 30th in Chicago
At the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center.
The National moves around every year, but from what I've heard from collectors is that Chicago is a fun city and the convention center is pretty easy to navigate. But what if you've never been to a National like me? The thought of the National can be overwhelming, but don't worry, I'm here to help. That's why this week's top 5 isn't going to be cards, but instead it'll be the top 5 things you need to know before going to the National. But before we get into all that, make sure you turn on those notifications, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on all of our content we're going to be pumping out for the National this week, and all of our amazing work throughout the year. Coming in at number 5 most important thing you need to know before this year's National is come prepared. Now this one is a lot, so bear with me. This means physically, mentally, and emotionally be prepared. The National is the biggest card convention in the country, so you're going to want to prepare accordingly. Comfortable shoes is a must. You're going to be on your feet all day, walking and maybe even running from booth to booth, trying to make a deal on that card you've been dying for in your personal collection. Not only shoes, but make sure you have a portable charger in case your phone dies. If you're a content person like us here at Dave and Adams, you're going to want to make sure your phone is charged so you don't miss capturing that insane piece of memorabilia. Don't forget your snacks, water, and aspirin. The sound and lighting can take a toll on your eyes and head, so make sure you have what you need to relieve a headache or sore legs so you can keep on that showroom floor. Also, there will be places for you to buy food at the National, but if you don't want to waste a second on the show floor, have something in your bag to munch on. And speaking of bags, have a satchel, backpack, or purse with you to hold your cards. It's a lot easier than carrying it around in your hands all day. When I say come prepared, just come prepared for what will make you feel the most comfortable for the duration of the show. Coming in at number 4, most important thing you need to know before the National is do your research. If you're coming with cards you want to sell or trade and you haven't looked at comps online for the same or similar cards, that's something I would recommend doing as soon as you're done with this video. Actually, no, scratch that, pause this video and open a new tab and start looking. There's some websites that should help you get a good idea of what you should price your cards at. Websites like 130 Point and cardladder.com literally will show you any sale you want. Just search that specific card, usually the full name, and it'll give you sales from what you search. Some collectors use eBay by filtering the sold and completed items to see what those are too. It's really what you're most comfortable with using. But don't let those prices change your mind. If you're set on a price for your card or lot, stick with it and stay firm. Just know that the booths you go up to will probably check for those comps in real time, so having an idea will give you better ammunition to be able to barter. While I have you collectors here, this is the perfect time to tell you where our Dave and Adams booth will be. We're perfectly snuggled in between Panini at booth 715. It'll be hard to miss because we'll have our big sign hanging from the ceiling that says Dave and Adams. Here you can buy boxes, get into live breaks happening right at our booth, participate for content, for booth credit, or just say hi to our team. We cannot wait to see you there. And if you can't make it, no worries. Like and subscribe to our Dave and Adams YouTube page and all of our social medias at DA Card World so you see every move we make at the 2023 National. Coming in at number 3, most important thing you need to know for this year's National is confidence is key. Listen, this year being my first National, I have to say I was and still am a little intimidated looking at the floor layout, thinking about all the people I have to see, and the overall size of the show. But the advice I'm getting from seasoned collectors is just act like you've been there before. Whether you're a person that gets a little anxious in crowds or even interacting with people, take a deep breath and realize you've got this. Especially if you're going up to a booth to try to make a deal, confidence is everything when it comes to negotiating. Be firm, stay strong, and remember, you can always come back the next day if things don't work out in your favor. Most of the best deals, I'm told, happen in the final days of the National when people are more likely to meet you in the middle on price and negotiations. So keep that confidence. Coming in at number 2 most important thing you need to know for the National is network, network, network. This is the biggest card convention in the country, like I keep saying. So it's imperative if you're trying to make a name for yourself in this industry to get your name out there as best you can. Have business cards ready to hand out, shake people's hands, and try to pick the brains of as many seasoned professionals as possible. Even if you aren't trying to break into the hobby scene and become an influencer, just putting on a smile and being nice can really go a long way. It also might help you make a deal. Some collectors and dealers I've talked to about bartering have said that genuine, nice people trying to make a deal goes much farther and they'd be willing to meet you in the middle. These connections you make at the National can and will last a lifetime. In this hobby, everyone knows everyone. So who knows, in a couple of years, you might be getting invited to the panini party if you play your cards right. And finally, coming in at number 1 most important thing you need to know before the 2023 National is have patience. I know, probably not the grand finale top 5 you were thinking it was going to be, but this is important. There's going to be a ton of people there, with the majority trying to do exactly what you're doing. There's going to be lines, there's going to be periods of time where you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, and that's okay. Knowing this ahead of time and preparing for it will help you the best. If you're planning on redeeming an old redemption from Panini or wanting to get something graded through Beckett or PSA, know ahead of time you're probably going to have to wait. Have your snacks ready in your backpack with your Dr. Scholl's inserts and your portable charger and be ready to hang out for a little bit. But it's like they say, patience is a virtue and it just might pay off for you at the end. I know it's a lot, but don't worry, collectors, we're all in this together. If you need a little comedic relief, head over to the Dave and Adams booth and we'll all be there smiling. Thanks for watching this week's Top 5 Cards. There's 2 things I want you to let me know in the comments this week. Will you be going to the National? And of course, what top 5 do you want to see?